I have posted a previous video which dealt in part with the claim that the NASA astronauts in the Apollo program were seen being suspended from wires. Now, I consider that to be one of the most ridiculous arguments that I've ever heard against the Apollo missions. And let's take a look at where that began. I believe this man, David Percy, is the one who is responsible for popularizing that idea. And here is the evidence that he uses to prove that astronauts were suspended from wires. In videos which are not particularly good quality, one can see a ping over top of the antenna that's on the PLSS pack that the astronauts are wearing. In these cases, the pictures are overexposed and there's a bright reflection off of that antenna. It can be seen in both of these sequences. And there it is. That's the evidence. Percy, the self-proclaimed expert in photography, says that this is a reflection off of a suspension wire, and that these astronauts are being manipulated from above to make it look like they are in lower gravity. The rest of us see it simply as a lens flare. I thought it would be good to look once again at pictures from the NASA archives. All of these that we're going to see for a while were taken during training here on Earth. And you can see that when they're wearing the full suit, this antenna is in view in most pictures. It's always the same length, and it is clearly not some wire that they are being suspended from. These pictures are entirely consistent with those that were taken on the moon. And I was just curious as to how many of these a moon hoax conspiracy theorist would need to see before they finally abandon that ridiculous wires argument. Just how hard-headed, how stubborn can someone be to maintain such a, well, I'm sorry to say it, but stupid argument in light of all of these photographs? There are more, but I was hoping this would be enough to demonstrate the point. This VHF antenna, by the way, is stowable. It can be pushed down inside the PLSS pack. And in some of these pictures you will see a triangular flap in front of it hanging over the front of the pack. This will become an important feature later in the video. Please note that in these pictures, and in many of the videos as well, this antenna may be easy to see or hard to see. Sometimes it looks thin and white, other times it looks black, and in a couple of pictures you can even see a red coloring. But it's all the same antenna, and the different looks that it has are dependent on the angle and the amount of light that happen to be hitting it. And now let's take a look at pictures taken on the moon. Here is the antenna. Please try to find in any of these pictures evidence of some kind of wire or suspension above the top of that antenna. I haven't been able to find it. Admittedly, I haven't looked very hard because I know it isn't there. But I would invite anyone who is a hoax conspiracist to see if they can find some evidence of a wire above these antennae. Picture after picture shows us the same thing. This is an antenna which is always the same length. It always projects from the PLSS pack at the same angle. It is never seen going straight up and down unless the backpack is aimed that way. And here is that famous flap that some people say is the fabric on the backpack being pulled up by the puppeteers up above. It's interesting that this one would be pulled at an angle like that, but I think you can see that it's that triangular flap, and in these cases it happens to be sticking up, leaning against the antenna. No great mystery, no great hoax or conspiracy. These are astronauts on the moon. Let's look at a few more pictures, and I'll be looking forward to seeing what kinds of comments these hoax conspiracists will make in response to this video. What kinds of arguments anyone could possibly concoct to try to justify this foolish notion that these astronauts are being suspended from wires. I think it's fitting that I close with this picture. It's the last photograph ever taken of a human being standing on the moon. That's Jack Schmitt in Apollo 17. He was the only real scientist to go on the moon missions. He and the other astronauts who went to the moon deserve our respect and admiration. They achieved a great thing, and the thousands of people that made this possible deserve better than the denigration of those who just don't know what they're talking about, but who seem to get their thrills by disparaging the marvelous achievement of others. This man is not being suspended by a wire. The people who make these arguments against Apollo, NASA, and the United States are fools, demonstrating their colossal ignorance and conceit.